Welcome, welcome, welcome into another day and another lesson in A Course in Miracles. Today we're going to be on lesson 152. The power of decision is my own. The power of decision is your own. And yesterday we were on lesson 151. All things are echoes of the voice for God. Before we get into the lesson that we have going for us today, let's take a quick minute or two to tune in, closing your eyes and settling your gaze a few inches in front of you. Taking a few deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. Allowing all other thoughts or distractions to gently fade away into the distance as you bring your full attention to the breath. And preparing your mind to receive today. We're going to be connecting to the power of decision that we have. Couple more breaths here. Coming to God with empty hands, open minds, and lifted hearts. Last breath here. And as you're ready, wiggling your fingers and toes, bring your attention back to the space. As we get into the lesson that we have been given for today, that the power of decision is our own. No one can suffer loss unless it be their own decision. So we cannot suffer loss unless it is our own decision. No one suffers pain except their choice elects this state for them. We cannot suffer pain except for our choice that elects that state for us. No one can grieve, nor fear, nor think themselves sick unless these are the outcomes that we want. And no one dies without their own consent. Nothing that occurs but represents our wish, and nothing is omitted that we choose. Here is our world, complete in all details. Here is its whole reality for us, and it is only here that salvation is. And so after listening to that, after hearing that, we may be thinking, this position is extreme and too inclusive to be true. Yet can truth have exceptions? If we have the gift of everything, can loss be real? Can pain be a part of peace or grief of joy? Can fear and sickness enter a mind where love and perfect holiness abide? Truth must be all-inclusive, if it be the truth at all. So we're being asked to accept no opposites and no exceptions, for to do so is to contradict the truth entirely. Salvation, other words, our healing, happiness, wholeness, is the recognition that the truth is true and nothing else is true. We've heard this before, but may not yet accept both parts of it. Without the first, that the truth is true, the second part has no meaning, that nothing else is true. But without the second, that nothing else has meaning, is the first no longer true. Truth cannot have an opposite. This cannot be too often said and thought about. For if what is not true is true, as well as what is true, then that would mean that part of truth is false. And truth has then lost its meaning. Nothing but the truth is true, and what is false is false. This is the simplest of distinctions, yet it's the most obscure. But not because it's a difficult distinction for us to perceive. It is concealed behind a vast array of choices that do not appear to be entirely our own choices. And thus the truth appears to have some aspects that belie consistency, but do not seem to be but contradictions that are introduced by us. So as God created us, we must remain unchangeable. With transitory states, by definition, that would be false. Our transitory states, by definition, false. And that includes all shifts in feeling. That includes alterations in conditions of the body and the mind, in all awareness and in all response. This is the all-inclusiveness which sets the truth apart from falsehood, and the false kept separate from truth as what it is. Isn't it strange that we believe that we think we made the world we see as arrogance? That to believe that we made the world we see, we believe that that's arrogance. God made it not. So saying God did not create this world. And of this we can be sure. What can God know of the ephemeral, the sinful and the guilty, the afraid, the suffering, the lonely, and the mind that lives within a body that must die? We but accuse God of insanity to think that God made a world where such things seem to have reality. God is not mad. God is not mad, yet only madness makes a world like this. To think that God made chaos contradicts God's will, invented opposites to truth, and suffers death to triumph over life. All this is arrogance. Humility would see at once these things are not of God. These things are not of love. And can we see what God created not? To think that we can is merely to believe that we can perceive what God willed not to be, what God did not will. And what could be more arrogant than this? So let us today be truly humble and accept what we have made as what it is. The power of decision is our own. So we're being asked to decide our rightful place as co-creator of the universe. And all we think we made will disappear. What rises to awareness then will be all there ever was, eternally as it is now. And it will take the place of self-deceptions made, but to usurp the altar to the Father and the Son. Today we practice true humility, abandoning the false pretense by which the ego seeks to prove it arrogant that we co-create with God. Only the ego can be arrogant, but truth is humble in acknowledging its mightiness, its changelessness, and its eternal wholeness, all-encompassing God's perfect gift to us as God's beloved creation. We lay aside the arrogance which says that we're sinners, we're guilty, afraid, ashamed of what we are, and we lift our hearts in true humility instead to God, who has created us immaculate, like to himself in power and in love. The power of decision is our own, and we accept of God that which we are, and humbly recognize the child of God, the creation of God, the Son of God. To recognize God's Son implies as well that all self-concepts have been laid aside and recognized as false. Their arrogance has been perceived, and in humility, the radiance of God's Son, his gentleness, his perfect sinlessness, his creator's, our Creator's love, our right to heaven and release from hell are joyously accepted as our own. Now do we join in glad acknowledgement that lies are false and only truth is true. We think of love alone as we arise and spend 5 minutes practicing its ways, encouraging our frightened minds with this. The power of decision is my own. This day I will accept myself as what my Father's will created me to be. Then will we wait in silence, giving up all self-deceptions as we humbly ask ourself that He reveal Himself to us. And He who has never left will come again to our awareness, grateful to restore His home to God as it was meant to be. In patience, wait for Him throughout the day and hourly invite Him with the words with which the day began, concluding it with the same invitation to yourself. God's voice will answer, for He speaks for you and for your Father. He will substitute the peace of God for all your frantic thoughts, the truth of God for self-deceptions, and God's Son for your illusions of yourself. And sometimes I'll substitute God's Son for Christ as well. You know, the truth of God for self-deceptions and Christ for your illusions of yourself, Christ, the one self. And so let's get into this 5 minutes where the power of decision is our own, where we lay arrogance, we lay self-deception aside, and connect to who we truly are through God and what God truly wills for us. So let me change this to, I won't do that right now because then it will sound, then you'll hear the alarm. But I apologize. In the future, I'll try to get on a better alarm sound for us to complete. So let's get started with this 5 minutes where only the truth is true. We think of truth alone as we arise. And here's what we're going to say to ourselves as we begin these 5 minutes. The power of decision is my own. This day I will accept myself as what my Father's will created me to be. Beautiful practice period. And so in patience, we're going to wait for the Holy Spirit, for God, for Christ throughout the day. God's voice is going to answer. He speaks for us and speaks for God, and is going to substitute the peace of God for all of our frantic thoughts, the truth of God for all self-deceptions, and the Christ, the one self who we truly are, for the illusions of ourselves. My little kitty, she's been, if you can hear her in the background, time to go back upstairs. She's like, hey, you've been gone, you need to be cuddling with me. So I'm gonna go cuddle with Creamy, Creamsicle. And gosh, this was such a perfect lesson for me. You can see I've been maybe inviting in a little cold for myself, and only the truth is true and nothing else is true. And I just, I love these lessons so much. I'm so grateful for the review we just completed together. And tomorrow we'll be moving along to lesson 153. I'll look forward to joining with you then. Much love.